Tennessee's 76 public airports play a vital role in our communities. They are engines for economic development, vital links in the air transportation system, staging areas for medical, emergency, law enforcement, and search and rescue services, centers for aerospace training and education, magnets for tourism, and much more. When I led AOPA, the world's largest aviation organization, we tracked state funding of local airports closely. In the past, Tennessee was one of the best, but a recent change to their long-standing funding mechanism puts their public airports in peril. That's why business leaders, aviation professionals, public officials, and others across the state have come together to explain how critical our airports are to Tennessee and urge legislators to take action to protect these vital assets. Scott Niswonger has relied on general aviation airports to help build 3 businesses in Tennessee that employ more than 4,500 people.
Over the past 15 or 20 years, almost every new industry that came to Upper East Tennessee and to Greene County came to the airport in the corporate airplane first to look at the site. In our community, we have John Deere, who of course are based in Moline, with a huge corporate fleet. We have American Greetings, we have Parker Hannifin, all of which wouldn't locate here if we didn't have this community airport.
Cleveland, Tennessee led the entire nation in jobs growth in 2015, and business leaders like Gary Farlow credit their airport with the employment surge.
So when we're dealing with industrial prospects, one of the things we usually get is a fairly long questionnaire about our community. One of the top things in that list of attributes for your community is a general aviation airport, or how close are you to one. So having one right here in Cleveland makes a huge difference for us when we're marketing this community.
You know, the story's the same in Obion County, on the opposite side of the state. Development experts like Lindsay Filling say,
Everett Stewart Regional Airport is critical in our business recruitment and retention efforts both. We have existing businesses that utilize the airport consistently, flying in their corporate staff, clients, customers, as well as when we recruit business, we'll host the prospect here at the airport.
Even Tennessee's largest employers depend on our regional airports. Smyrna Rutherford County Airport, which hosts 80,000 flight operations annually, serves as a lifeline to businesses, including Nissan North America, which provides more than 6,000 jobs.
They have a plant 3 miles from this airport. They also fly parts and people in and out of this airport almost every day. There are times when parts can't arrive over the road that are flown in here that keep that plant running. And without the airport, Nissan most likely would not be here.
Bill Green, chairman of the Bank of Tennessee, built his banking business with general aviation. And as the former chairman of the Tennessee Aeronautics Commission, he understands the threat they now face.
I begin to tell you what an economic engine this airport is for Carter County, Tennessee and Elizabethton, Tennessee. If this airport were to lose its funding and its help from the state of Tennessee, it would be a massive threat to us for a lot of reasons.
Since 1986, under Tennessee's Transportation Equity Fund, the 4.5% sales tax collected on aviation fuel purchases has been dedicated to airport maintenance, development, and improvement projects, keeping our public airports modern and efficient. But when fuel prices spiked a few years ago, major fuel users sought a legislative relief. And in 2015, the administration supported a significantly reduced annual tax obligation. Since then, fuel prices have returned to normal levels, and the sales tax funds collected to maintain and sustain our public airports have plunged. It is important to understand that this fund is supported entirely by users, buyers of aviation fuels. There are no taxpayer dollars involved. That's why business and civic leaders across the state, like Representative Bill Sanderson, are calling on the legislature to act.
We had structured the maintenance, the upkeep, and the longevity of the airport based on a funding mechanism that we've tampered with in the General Assembly. And unfortunately, we've gone to a point now where I'm not sure in the years to come if we'll be able to maintain the current structure and the current operating status unless we address that.
Our communities have kept up their investments in these facilities, recognizing their benefits. That's what led Weakley County to join Obion County not long ago in taking co-sponsorship of their airport, transforming the facility into a regional powerhouse in the process.
Weakley County was already seeing so many benefits of the airport, and we really felt that it was important for us to make a contribution to the airport in the same way that the airport was making a contribution to our community by really being the front door to the community for economic prospects, for small business owners who needed to operate airplanes and have accessibility all across the state, not just driving up and down the road.
These are the investments that spark business today and support the enterprises of tomorrow.
I really understand that general aviation is difficult to grasp. It looks like a bunch of rich snobs who are flitting around in their jets. It's not. Businesses don't like to talk about it. It's like the secret weapon, and it's the secret weapon that gets them where they need to be, when they need to be there. And it drives their business forward. And they don't talk about it because it sounds like it's all this highfalutin, high-class type of thing.
The impact goes beyond just industrial development. It's economic development, it's tourism development, it's public safety, emergency medical evacuation. There's a whole host of things that general aviation airports provide with this state, and all of that takes money, so it's going to take some funding from our legislature to make that happen.
These facilities play a major role in public health. Last year, regional pilots donated their services and their aircraft to perform almost 3,000 free medical flights, providing transportation to patients in need. And Vanderbilt Life Flight provides critical medical care by helicopter from bases at 6 different public airports here in Tennessee. And across the state, there are currently 32 aeromedical response units operating 35 aircraft.
Having a helicopter here at the airport allows us to basically extend the reach of a trauma center, a children's hospital, a burn unit out into the region further than it would be otherwise. So launching from a local airport, our Vanderbilt Life Flight program is able to offer care to both infants, neonates, all the way up to geriatric patients. We're able to offer care to trauma victims, to medical patients, to cardiac patients, to strokes. So having a helicopter based in Lebanon, Tennessee allows us to serve the area within Lebanon and within 60 nautical miles of that area.
Military training, search and rescue, and disaster recovery plans also rely on Tennessee's public airports.
Being a National Guard unit, we actually have twofold missions. We have to train and maintain to the Army standard in order to accomplish successfully our wartime mission overseas. But also, we also have to always be prepared for any type of stateside mission, such as a natural disaster, earthquake, tornado, hurricane, flooding, all of which Tennessee Army National Guard Aviation has been involved in the last several years.
As you know, we're standing just on the edge of the New Madrid fault line. And in case of a large earthquake, 7.0 or more, then McKellar-Sachs Regional Airport becomes command and control for all of the relief effort that will go on in the New Madrid area. And that's from way up in Missouri to way down in Mississippi and Alabama in places.
Tennessee's agricultural industry depends on our airports for their rich harvest as well.
This county here, Obion County, is #1 in the state of Tennessee in corn production. It's about in the top 5 with soybean production, top 10 in wheat production. We depend heavily on crop dusters and aerial application. This airport, during our peak season, the busiest time we've had, has had 10 crop dusters here at one time.
These airports are the ultimate high-quality employee incubators where the next generation of aviation professionals receive inspiration and training. like at Murfreesboro Municipal Airport, where Middle Tennessee State University's aerospace program draws over 700 students from across the U.S. and around the world.
Students train in airport management, pro-pilot, maintenance management, aerospace technologies, UAS, unmanned aircraft systems. They also have a program for training our air traffic controllers. Their training is so important because it feeds the national system of aviation that we have today and take for granted. Students that graduate from our Middle Tennessee State University Aerospace Department are captains on all the major airlines, fly for our military, work for various government agencies, and are literally flying around the world and controlling our airspace at any time.
Here too are mentors and role models we can all take pride in, like flight instructor and former Air Force pilot Tim Decker.
I started my aviation career at a small airport like this one where I learned to fly. I got my private pilot license. After that, I went to college at Ohio State University and did the ROTC program. I was commissioned in the Air Force and flew for 20 years in the Air Force. Flew some great airplanes like the F-117 stealth fighter and the U-2 spy plane. After I retired from the Air Force after 20 years, I went into corporate jet aviation, and that's what I do now. When I'm not doing that, I'm at small airports like this, teaching the next generation of pilots how to fly.
The need for our public airports is clear. The challenge is grave, and the time to act is now.
Sometimes you forget about what a great asset it is, and I think we as community leaders, as state legislatures, as governors, we have to be really cognizant of the fact that this piece of infrastructure is just as important as any other piece of infrastructure, that it's just as important as our road. And so it's really important to continue that funding relationship.
We need to be aware of what we've done in Nashville. We need to be aware of what's going to happen to these small regional airports, and we really need to look at a way to fix that, get them the funding necessary, because if we don't, the direction we're heading in the rural areas is going to continue. And we're not going to only see Nashville grow by 100 people per day, but we're going to see significant losses in our rural areas. And this is just an important key, an important tool in our box.
The ability for us to take care of this vast network, this vast state, 95 counties, takes place in these community airports.
The Tennessee Aviation Association urges you to take action today, before the sun sets, on the funding to keep many of our local airports alive. Reverse the devastating, unintended consequences of the revision of the state's Transportation Equity Fund, and restore and ensure the long-term funding and prosperity of our public airports and the communities they serve.